Good morning, everyone. It was last Tuesday, and Chaplain Luca approached me and asked me if I would be interested in giving a speech in the chapel. Now, given it was relatively short notice, and initially I said no, because I did not know what to say. And then Ms. Tan and I had a chat in my office, and Ms. Tan said, "Why don't you tell the story of your early life that you have told me before?" And then I give a thought, and I thought, okay, that might work, so this is what I'm going to do. Many of you know me as a physics teacher. In fact, this is my 25th year of teaching at Appleby. Before coming to Canada, actually, I used to teach at the university in Shanghai for 7 years. But if I'm telling you today that I did not have a normal high school education, I did not have a formal physics training in high school, many of you might be surprised. That's a story I'm going to share with you today. How many people in the room know a special period of time in Chinese modern history called Cultural Revolution? Okay. Some, not many. It is a 10-year period from 1966 to 1976. The reason it was called a Cultural Revolution was because then the Chinese leader, Chairman Mao, and believed the education system in China did not serve its people very well. Somehow he believed the stuff we are learning in the classroom were useless. So students better learn the real-life skills with the working class in the factories, in the militaries, in the villages. So the entire education system in China was overhauled during that period of time. And the conventional curriculum has been either abandoned or redesigned. The change was massive. Just to give you some examples, when I was in high school, we had to spend about 2 months every term, the 1 year, calendar year, divided into 2 terms. We have to spend 2 months each term working in a factory, in the military, in the villages, to working with the people. And I remember I was assigned to a watch factory several times, and a toy factory once, a local medical clinic to learn acupuncture once, and then we went to a military base for 3 weeks, and we went to a village to learn how to farm for several times. So you can see, we didn't spend a lot of time in classroom. So even when we were in the classroom, we learned a lot of politics and a lot of content. Okay, it was based upon politics. So we had English class, but at that time, the first English sentence I learned was, "Long live Chairman Mao." Okay? And the physics, chemistry, biology, all those science courses were not taught anymore. Instead, they create those courses called fundamentals of industry and fundamentals of farming. So in those courses, some basic of physics, chemistry, biology were taught, okay, but in a very practical term. But the most disappointing things for me and for my parents during that time is that it was the fact that high school graduates were not allowed to go to university anymore. So my parents didn't have much education themselves. They hoped that I would become the first one to go to university after I graduated from high school. Well, the Chairman Mao's view, in his view, he thought the university education should provide to those who proven to be able to working or serving the people, all right? So obviously, in his view, the high school graduates are too young to prove that. So the university had to go to factories, military, village to find the candidates, okay? And the candidates had to be recommended by the local authority. Then they were allowed entrance exam to go to universities. The Chinese current president, Xi Jinping, is one of those people who was chosen to go to university during that time. So when I graduated from high school in early 1976, so the Cultural Revolution is still on. So obviously, I wasn't given an opportunity to go to university. Then I want to join the Army, because at that time, joining the Army is considered to be a privilege. But unfortunately, my eye vision didn't pass the physical. So they only choose the best of best in terms of physical conditions, okay, to join the Army. So then I had to choose between a factory in the city or go to a farm or village in a rural area. And I was at your age at the time, obviously. I had no fear to be far away from home. So initially, I wanted to go to Mongolia, thinking riding the horse during the daytime, sleep in the tents, that's cool. But obviously, my parents won't let me go that far. So instead, I choose to go to a farm, a special farm, about 200 kilometers away from Shanghai. It was a vast piece of wasteland and used to be under the sea. So in May 1976, I joined the other 54 high school graduates, along with about 2 local farmers, okay, and came to this land. So the first year, while we're there, we're basically building our own housing and planting trees around the camp, the farm, and digging the canals so that the fresh water can be brought in to wash the salty land. And then the second year, we start to plant vegetables, rice, and cotton, which is amazing from the eye of a city boy like me, you know, never done that before. So I enjoy actually working with my peers and feel the huge accomplishment, you know, seeing all those things. So after a year and a half working in the farm, I almost decided to spend the rest of my life in the farm. But then, in late 1977, a year after Chairman Mao's death, the new Chinese government decided to resume the university entry exam to the high school graduates, so therefore they will have a chance to go to university directly. At the same time, they also allow those who missed the entrance exam during the period from 1966 to 1977 to write the entrance exam, along with those current high school graduates. That changed everything for me. My dream, the dream of becoming the first child in my family to go to university, dream of sitting in the lecture hall, listening to the professors, and dream of all the possibilities, opportunities the university might bring to me, revived. But before that dream can come to a truth, I have to pass the exam. So during that 10 years period, millions of people like me didn't have a chance to go to university. So now all of a sudden, they had their dream, right, to be realized. And many of them actually had a formal education for most part of their high school prior to 1966. So you can imagine, and competing with them on the same exam will not be easy. Some recent data show there was 11 million people wrote the entrance exam. The acceptance rate was 4.8%. So every 100 people writing exam, only 4.8 people will be accepted by university. So I needed to go hurry to fill the void in certain subjects, like even physics, chemistry. I never had formal education in that area. So I gathered as many resources I could, and self-taught, basically, chemistry and physics myself. In a 6 months period, during the day, I had to work in the field, just like everybody else, and then in the evenings and the nights, and I studied, okay, myself. And it was a very exhausting 6 month period. Then the exam was held in June 1978, and then in August of the same year, I received the letter of acceptance from Shanghai University of Science and Technology to study theoretical physics. So after a bit over 2 years working in the farm, I finally said goodbye to my friends in the farm and set my foot the first time in the university campus. So the first day, the whole class, we gathered, I learned 1/3 of my classmates had married already, had kids, and much older than me. 1/3 of about same, like my age, they had some working experience. And then the other 1/3 are recent high school graduates. You could tell that everybody was so appreciative of the renewed opportunity of studying universities, okay, after 10 years void. Many of us would not see that coming. So no one wants to waste a second in their life, doing things other than just doing anything else other than studying. You often see people holding the index cards in a dining hall, okay, waiting in line to get food, try to memorize a few more English words. And you couldn't even find a seat in the library because they were all filled with people. They are all so eager to learn. And everybody was like a sponge trying to absorb as much knowledge as possible. So the 4-year study went by quickly. When I graduated with a bachelor degree in 1982, I was hired as a teaching assistant in a semi-university to teach the first-year physics course. So normally, you won't be able to teach university with bachelor degree only. However, because of 10 years void, the university at the time was in desperation for getting some new blood. So that's why I was hired to teach university. But I knew that I would not be continuing to teach university with just a bachelor degree. So in 1989, I decided to come to Canada to pursue graduate study and looking for a better life. And I finished my master's degree in 1992. I saw an ad on Global Mail from Appleby looking for a physics teacher, and I applied, and I got a job. The rest is history. So the story I'm sharing with you today reflects one thing in my mind. That is, life is like a journey. You may or may not be able to control the destiny of the journey. However, as long as you bring a positive outlook and then do your best to enjoy each part of the journey, life is beautiful. Would you all please stand, sing the hymn 565?